Previously on Always in the Craft Room.
The plan is done. Let's make it all.
Before we get started, we need to tidy up this mess. In my last video, I decided what I was going to make, and we're starting with the hardest thing first, the linen trousers. We're using the Swimstyle Karla loungewear pants, and I'm adding 1/2 centimetre extra seam allowance on all north-south seams because this pattern is designed for knits. I've made it once before in a stretch woven using this technique, but I wasn't too pleased with the back of the trousers because they had just too much fabric in the back. So now you can see what I'm doing is folding out 2 centimetres from the top of the pattern piece all the way to the bottom. And we're just going to take that out the back and see if that improves things. And now I've got the waistband from New Look 6035, and I just measured myself there to check that it did look about the right size. And here is the bed sheet that I'm going to use as a twill fabric. I'm using an old fitted sheet which has got holes in it, but around the edges it's got elastic, obviously, to keep it on the mattress, and I'm saving that elastic because it will be great for scrunchies. And I just realised I hadn't checked if I'd got any zips, but I do. I was going to send my husband to get some because he was out and about near a hobbycraft. Laying out the fabric now, I did give it a bit of a press. Look at me being an overachiever. Does anyone else just use whatever's laying about as pattern weights? And now I'm going to do something. Don't tell my husband, okay? Yep, I just pressed on my cutting table. It's melamine, it's from IKEA. It can take it at a low heat. And now I'm cutting out the waistband and the back trouser piece. Folding it all up nice and neat, look at me. It's only because I'm on camera, otherwise I would have screwed it up. And now I can get to sewing. And I don't know if you can see which machine I'm using, but that is a cover stitch machine. So I'm basting everything with one needle and a chain stitch because it's really easy to take apart afterwards. So I'm getting the side seams of each leg sewn up, and then I'm going to put one leg inside the other there, inside out, and sew the crotch seam front all the way to back. And then I just need to add this waistband on, which I've stolen from New Look 6035 because that is a shaped waistband as compared to the Karla waistband, which is quite straight. So I thought this would work better on a woven. And look at that, we basically have a finished pair of trousers. Hi everyone, I've just completed the toile. I mean, not bad, right? Okay, this is lunchtime, Hayley. I've just come to get my lunch. Would you like to see it? Oh, cheesy croissant and grapes. And I just watched the footage back because I thought, oh, it'd be interesting to see how it looks, see what changes I need to make. Oh my God, you guys. I've put the waistband on back to front. Or maybe I was just wearing the trousers back to front. I mean, who even knows at this point? Clearly, I need some food. So I'm going to eat my lunch and then we'll go back to the craft room and we will decide, did I sew the waistband on with the back on the front and the front on the back? Or when I tried those trousers on, did I just put the whole ensemble on back to front? I clearly marked the waistband B and F, and in the video that was when I could see it was back to front. I didn't mark the trouser pieces because like that should be obvious. Anyway, watch this space. I've had some lunch, I've got a cup of tea, and now Miss Marple needs to investigate the mysterious case of the trousers in the craft room. What
was even going on. Looking at them, they look right to me. Like, the back rise needs to be longer. Oh my God, you guys, I think I literally just put them on back to front and then modelled them for you for like 3 minutes and also said they fit great. Well, if ever we needed proof, I really do have a flat bum. Come on now. Right. I'm going to go try them on again the right way round. Also, if you've ever thought I make up all the disasters for content and like, oh, I'm exaggerating, this is proof. It's really just pure comedy around here. I think I actually know what happened. I tried to put that opening on the left side like the zip would be, but you know me, left and right, too complicated. I can't believe this. I was literally just wearing them back to front when I tried them on. Anyway, let's have another look the right way round. I mean, actually, the front is better, unsurprisingly, but I actually think the back is worse. Oh, let's clip him again. I literally cannot believe I modelled my trousers for you backwards and thought they were a pretty good fit. Oh. That said, now they're on the right way round. I do think they're a pretty good fit.
But that waistband doesn't match up, so we're going to try again. Here I am drafting a new waistband. I say drafting very loosely, like copying it from the original pattern piece, taking a bit off one side, adding a bit on the other, just based on how they looked on the toile. And with those new pattern pieces drafted, labelled and cut out, I'm going to remove the old waistband from the toile, and it was just cover stitched on with a chain stitch, so watch me unzip it here. Ooh, off. And I'm going to cut out some new ones and just sew those onto the toile again and make sure we're heading in the right direction with the waistband. I don't know if any of you who actually know things about fitting have noticed, but I am skipping a crucial step here. I will realise later. And at no point have I actually compared the waistband to the trouser pattern pieces. Yeah, I don't really know what I was thinking. We're kind of winging it, but I think you've probably figured that out by now. New waistband is going on, and then we can try them on and see if we've made things better or worse.
So I've taken some width out of the back of the waistband, added some to the front, then I took that off again because it was too much. And first things first, once again, I was trying to get the side seam on the left. Once again, it's come out on the right, but at least this time, front, front. At least we've got them on the right way around. So, is the side seam better? I mean, it's still way wrong. So we need more at the back, less at the front. I feel like this is the point where most normal vloggers go, But I'm not an expert, so this is just what works for me. How redundant is that advice on this video? Don't take fitting advice from the lady who not only wears her trousers backwards, but who also thinks the fit was pretty good. I literally cannot believe I did that, except I totally can. So, I don't even know what to do now. I think the fit's pretty good. The waistband is clearly a bit wrong. I'm not sure I care that much. Do I care? I should care. But look, that's quite good. Are they a bit big in the back again now? I don't think we can tell until we get a real double face waistband on. Right. We've got a back waistband piece and a front waistband piece. You can see there's quite a big difference. I did cut them single. I'd say we are 2 centimetres wrong. We're going to cut a centimetre off there and stick it on there, cut a centimetre off there, stick it on there, call it good.
So there I am altering the waistband, and I also decided at this point that I was going to take a little bit out of the crotch. So if you remember, on all north-south seams I added 0.5 centimetre, so that was side seam, inseam and crotch seam, and I'm just cutting that extra 0.5 centimetre out because there was just a bit too much fabric centre front and centre back. So I've decided I'm not even going to retoile that. I'm just going to go for it because they really did feel a bit loose. It'll be fine, right? Ooh. Now I'm like, oh my god, I didn't buy enough fabric. Standard, eh? Let's rearrange those pattern pieces. One upside down, one the right way round. Anyway, I think I've figured out a layout where it will work. I'm just making sure the fabric's really on grain. So yeah, if we kind of tuck the crotches next to each other, if you can see what I've done there, that made me able to get this pattern on 1.5 meters of fabric. Phew! And I'm going to overlock around all the pattern pieces because I don't really have an order of construction since I've not actually got instructions to make these trousers in a woven. So that seems like a sensible first step, and it means that I can adjust the fit more as I go along rather than constructing on the overlocker. So there I am, just whizzing around each of the trouser legs. Don't you hate it when your fabric's longer than your cutting table? I do have dreams of a bigger cutting table, but for the time being, I can't exactly complain with this setup now, can I? Compared to cutting out on the floor and sewing on a little shelf under the stairs as I used to, yeah, I've got it pretty good, eh? And now for the waistbands. Using a rotary cutter for those. I would, in an ideal world, love to use a rotary cutter for everything, but I've only got an A3 cutting mat, so it's restricted to the smaller pieces for the time being. And back to the overlocker, just to make sure all of those edges don't fray during construction. Okay, we've got everything cut out, put the pattern pieces away, have a little drink and a little think. I'm literally scratching my head there, aren't I?
I've cut everything out. I've overlocked around all the edges of the trouser pieces. I haven't overlocked around the edges of the waistbands because I'm going to interface those. And with it being linen, you know what, I've only cut one set, I need to cut another set. With it being linen, I think I'm going to interface inner and outer, because even as I'm cutting this, I can feel it kind of growing, which is making me a bit nervous since we didn't even have the fit down on the top, but you know. And obviously, because I'm making this up as I go along, I don't know if you've noticed that, I don't have any instructions to follow. So I don't really know what order to do everything in terms of the zip. I feel like you'd normally start with the zip, but the waistband needs to be on for the zip to go in. So, yeah. And I can't really put the waistband on without the trousers being constructed, can I? That was the front. Let's not get those confused again. So, yeah, I'm a bit, I wouldn't say overwhelmed, but I'm having a think. Let's say that. I'm having a think. Back. Front, front. Back, back. Pattern pieces for interfacing. Scrap. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go for a little walk, get some fresh air, have a think about the order of construction. It's a side seam zip. It's invisible. I've done it before because that was the zip arrangement on the new look 6035. Haha. Wait there. Yeah, therefore a lap zip. I'm going for a walk.
I'm back from the walk. We're putting some music on. We're going to work this out. So I've got some Vilene form band here, which is a kind of bias tape interfacing. So it's pretty narrow, and I'm just putting it along the top edges of all of the trouser pieces in hopes of stabilizing this waistband, because, as I say, with this linen, it does seem to be getting a bit bigger, and I don't want droopy trousers. And now I'm pinning the legs together. See if you can spot what I've done wrong here. So the new look instructions that I'm vaguely following have you sew the trousers side seams first and then sew them together at the front and back crotch. And you can now see I'm trying to match the crotch and I'm like, what? This isn't quite right. One's much longer than the other. What have I done? Oh yikes, oh no. Yeah, I've sewn front leg to front leg and back leg to back leg. Ugh. There's nothing for it but to get the stitch ripper out. At this point, my husband arrives home. Why do they always come in when you're stitch ripping? Like, I've been in a great mood all morning, but now he's here. I'm cross. But don't worry, the darling has brought me a coffee. And with a large latte at my side, order is restored in the world and I have the strength to go on and sew those trousers again, but this time front leg to back leg. Oh, let's press all those seams for a second time, eh? And thank goodness everything matches up as they should at the crotch. And you can see that with the edges already overlocked, I'm just sewing these seams on my sewing machine and then pressing all of the seams open. Let's put that new waistband on, and you'll notice I didn't retoile it and test it. I'm just kind of going for it. So now I've sewn up the side seams, I am just going to quickly try them on because remember I removed the extra that I had added at the crotch, so I just want to make sure that I can basically get them on, sit down in them, and it seems like I can. Yay! So we're moving on to adding the waistband. But before we can put the waistband on, yeah, we need to interface it. Is it just me, or is this anyone else's least favourite step of sewing? Ugh, it's so necessary, it's so important, but I really do not enjoy doing it. I'm pinning those waistband seams together and I'm just going to have a little check around my waist to make sure that things look all right. Yeah, we're good. And I'm back to the cover stitch machine, which is now on the end of my desk because I'm really not sure this is going to work. So we just want to baste it on and make it easy to take off.
Okay, we've got some trousers with a waistband on. The waistband was not the right size. I don't think at any point I compared the pattern piece of the waistband to the pattern piece of the trouser. Anyway, I'm going to try them on. Oh, and I'm going to turn the iron off. So there's no zip in the side seam as yet. And you can see how much extra waistband we've got. Anyway, better too much than too little. And in general, I'm pretty pleased. Shall I turn you around and we'll try and get a better shot? Hang on. So, I think they're looking pretty good. It's hard to tell in the dark navy blue, isn't it? But they feel all right. They don't feel too small, too big. As I was sewing them up, just because I felt like the linen was growing as I worked with it, I had sewed the test garment from the sheet at 6mm side seams, and I went straight to a centimetre because, yeah, it just felt like they were going to keep getting bigger. And feeling this now, I think I'm going to interface the inner and outer waistband, because we don't want trousers that fall down. That's super annoying. Right, so we need one more waistband, and then we need to work out how we're going to get this zip in. Not great with zips.
So it's time to interface that inner waistband, and you'll see in a second, I keep making notes on my iPad, and that's things like the fact that I sewed the side seams up at 1 centimetre. So I always think I'm going to remember, and I never do. So I always have to note stuff like that down as I go for next time. And I'm hoping there will be a next time. And I'm going to take the waistband off the trousers and alter it, because you could see in that footage the waistband was just way too big. So I've got it off. I'm separating the front and the back waistbands, and I'm laying the pattern pieces on it and just taking some off each of the side seams. Sewing up the side seams of that waistband, giving it a good press, and we're going to put it back on the trousers and see if it fits. And I'm being a really good girl and altering my paper pattern at the same time. Alright, let's baste that on and see if things are improved with these alterations to the size of the waistband. Yay! Everything fits. Let's sit down and have a check. All good. So now I'm happy. I'm sewing the waistband on for real with my sewing machine, and then after that I can just rip out those basting stitches from the cover stitch machine. I try to sew basting stitches just either inside or outside of the seam allowance so that they're easier to remove when it comes time. And with all of that undone, I can start stressing about how we're going to put the zip in. Oh. Seems like the first thing to do is assemble the inner waistband. And we know what that means. More interfacing. You might notice I have a cordless iron that charges from a stand on my right hand side, and I really love it because when I've got all of my fabric and or interfacing arranged just so, with my old iron I was then always catching it with the cord and disturbing everything. So I love the cordless, but when you're interfacing, it does take a long time to get back up to heat because obviously you don't have continuous power to it. So you have to fuse for a little bit and then put it back on the charger. So the process of interfacing can take a while, and whilst I'm waiting each time for the iron to get hot enough, I'm at the same time grading those waistband seams with my pinking shears. So everything is interfaced and I'm not actually particularly worried about fraying, but I just thought I'd be less likely to get a kind of shadow line of the seam on my waistband if I use pinking shears and therefore get a zigzaggy edge. And I've now realised that the waistbands I cut out were with the original waistband pattern pieces, so I'm just trimming those down to match my new alterations. Waistband pieces together so I can sew the side seam, and I keep checking to make sure that I am going to get the zip in the left hand side of the trousers. And I actually need to open that seam up a little bit to get this zip in. I was able to try them on with the side seam sewn all the way up to the start of the waistband because it is a wide waistband and my hips are very narrow compared to my waist. But I am now putting that zip in and I'm really just fudging it. I have no instructions, but I'm giving it my best shot. It's an invisible zip, so I'm laying it right sides down on the waistband, basting it on a bit away from the zip teeth, and here I'm zipping it up and marking where the waistband falls on the other side of the zip so that I can try and make sure that when it's zipped up, the two waistline seams are in the same place. Time for a quick try on. So I'm happy with the zip as it was basted in. The two waistband seams line up fine, but now I've got to properly sew it on as in close to the teeth. And I don't know about you, but this is always quite a stressful part for me. And what do you know? The kids are home and I've got to finish for the day.
So you can tell I've been busy because look at this mess. But the great news is the trousers are finished. So where I left off filming yesterday, we had the zip in and the waistband on, and all I had left to do, which I just finished up last night off camera, was to sew the inner waistband on and stitch it down. And actually I put it on, and then in the instructions for the new look pattern they have you fold under and top stitch, and I just thought that would be very bulky because at the top here we've already got all of the seam allowances pressed upwards. So I opted instead to overlock the bottom edge of the inner waistband and then just stitch it down. And I have actually just basted that because I don't know about you, but I make trousers and skirts actually, and I think they fit when I'm done with them, and then I wear them a couple of times and they start falling down. So I don't know if it's that I'm just so cautious not to make things too tight or if stuff grows with body heat. So I've basted that because I feel like in my mind now these aren't finished. So if I need to go back and just unpick the basting and nip it in a bit, that's not a big job. If I proper stitch them down and then decided they were too big, that would become an alteration. I don't know why it's so different in my mind, but it is. And I hate alterations. I hate alterations. So they're basted, and what do you know? I'm holding them back to front. Dear oh dear, maybe I should put a label in the back, except we all know one of the reasons I make my own clothes is because I also hate labels. I haven't hemmed them. The bottom edge is overlocked to stop fraying, and honestly, they don't drag on the floor. So I am going to wear them whilst I'm just testing out the waistband. I'm going to wear them a lot and wash them and just see if they shrink. I would prefer them to be a touch longer. So I am going to make a note for the next time I make this pattern. And I may do either a hem facing, although this is quite thick linen, so that might just make it super stiff. So I might have a look and see if I've got any hem tape and leave the overlocked edge and just turn the smallest amount I can, but use a hem tape to make the hem deeper and weightier. But anyway, overall, I am so thrilled with these. I can't even tell you. I cannot even tell you. So pleased. So that is the first thing off my list and the hardest thing off my list, basically done. I did then immediately think, oh, I'll move on to the beige linen and just get those cut out and done while I've got the pattern pieces out. But no, I've done that before. I just need to take a breath and wear those and see if they're as good as I think they are. Because so often with clothes, I think they're amazing when I make them, and then I realise there are a few things I'd change, or I think, yeah, this is fine, and then end up wearing it loads. So before I cut the next ones, I just want to wear those and see how they are. I have got my jumpsuit there to work on though, and I'm actually thinking that was quite an involved project. I did it all basically in a day, but it was intense. So I think we're in the market now for an easy win. It might have to be this t-shirt, which is like 90% completed. In fact, I've just spotted, yes, the neckband is already on. The worst bit's done. I'm going to try it on, see where we go. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed spending a day with me sewing. Do come back soon and I will let you know how the rest of my holiday wardrobe sewing is going. Bye.